As soon as I arrived in La Rochelle, I could see why my old mate Jack Nowell decided to move out here. Sunday's match will be the first time I've played here in my career, and it's a lovely old coastal town, with rugby fans all around the port. There's a real buzz. Jack and I enjoyed some of our best days in an England shirt together, and it was great to catch up with him before our Champions Cup match. He's living on the small island just off the mainland, and he's settled in nicely. It helps that it feels similar to Cornwall, where Jack was born and brought up, as he told me sitting in his kids' playroom, 2 minutes walk from the beach. It was tough leaving Exeter after so many years, a bit like when you left Harlequins, he said. But I always wanted to experience something else. There was a big group of us leaving at the same time, with guys like Dave Ewers, Luke Cowan, Dickie, the Simmons brothers, Harry Williams. There's a younger group there now and they're loving it. It's great to be coached by Ronan O'Gara. He's honest and tells you how it is. When I first came out, Roch was like, look, if your family are not settled, or anything like, don't worry about coming into training. They made sure the girls were sorted with a good school. The family side is incredible, and so is the atmosphere. I had 10 mates come from Cornwall to watch a game, and they said it felt like a test match. Playing in La Rochelle has always been on my bucket list, but a weekend out here is long enough for me. I had some brief interest from France before I resigned at Leicester, but my family have moved around enough over the last few years. Saying that, it's easy to see why more and more players are moving here. It's hard to blame Owen Farrell if he takes up a move to Paris with Racing 92. He could enjoy the French lifestyle, probably return to Saracens as a coach, while remaining in contention for the 2025 Lions Tour. Jack said, Owen would be one of the biggest to go. It's big for English rugby and big for the Premiership. Owen and Stuart Lancaster always got on, and Racing would be a tough team with him and Sia Colisi. I came out here and feel like a little kid again, with that excitement of when you join a new team at 18, but I also made the sacrifice of not playing for England. Do you think the RFU would introduce a 50-cap selection rule so England could pick him? Who knows? I would not be surprised if the RFU do fold on their overseas selection rules, but it shouldn't happen for a couple of years. First, they need to see how successful their new hybrid contract system is. Jack said, a lot of it does come down to salaries, but you need the best players in the Premiership to bring in crowds and to make it a big show. The amount of teams we've lost over the last couple of years in the Premiership, it's not a pretty sight, is it? Imagine if suddenly someone like Marcus Smith decided to leave. It wouldn't be good for the league. Also, if suddenly the French clubs knew they would lose players to England for a 9-week block in the Six Nations, would they still want to sign them? Club rugby out here in France seems to be on a different scale. La Rochelle have sold out every match for the last couple of years. It all filters back into the pot, in contrast to the Premiership where some of the contracts recently have been pretty poor. I say that from first-hand experience. So it didn't surprise me to hear that Courtney Lawes is also looking at a move out here after all his years at Northampton. There's a romance about staying at the same club for your whole career. I once thought I'd never leave Harlequins, but it's a cutthroat business. In many ways, I feel as at home at Leicester as I did at the Stoop. Jack was part of the fabric at Exeter and I didn't like the way he left. He was banned for a tweet about referees and then not selected for the final match of the season. I was curious to hear if he had any regrets. It was a bit of a sour note to leave on, he said. I made those comments about a yellow card that I thought was a ridiculous decision. Ollie Woodburn on Chris Ashton. It was quite tough to sit there and watch, but I shouldn't have tweeted it. What I don't like now is players staying down holding their head on the floor so the ref sees it. There are some cases where you can't avoid hitting someone's head in a contact sport like ours. I also sense an issue creeping into the game, where players fake injury to attract the attention of the TMO. There should be a rule that if you go down claiming to have a head injury, then you should be taken off straight away for a HIA with the independent doctor, because that will stop teams from trying to cheat the system. I'm looking forward to seeing Steve Borthwick's Six Nations squad announcement on Wednesday. The captaincy will be a big talking point, with Farrell and Lawes both stepping away.